according to Woj at ESPN, a new team has emerged in the Kevin Durant trade conversation. The Boston Celtics are among the teams that have reached out potentially in trading for KD as we reach week 4 since Kevin Durant requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. Be clear, Boston is no close to getting Kevin Durant than the other few teams that we know that have had some esteemed interest in acquiring the all-star forward. Miami, Phoenix, and Toronto are some other teams that we know to be in the hunt for Kevin Durant. The Celtics, though, got something that Brooklyn wants, and that would be Jaylen Brown. JB did respond to his name being in trade rumors, presumably by tweeting out, shaking my head yesterday with all the rumors swirling involving his names. The Celtics consider all NBA forward Jason Tatum to be the only guy on their roster that's off limits in any trade talks, but Boston is able to construct a package for Durant that theoretically could include Jaylen Brown and as many as 3 unprotected first-round picks, 25, 27, and 2029, and they could do a couple pick swaps as well in 2024 and 2026. JB's got 2 years left on a $56 million deal. One of the reported hurdles in getting a Kevin Durant to Boston trade done is the fact that the Brooklyn Nets don't just want Jaylen Brown. They also want the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart. The Celtics have been obviously reluctant to give up on Smart, who has been not only a leader within that Boston Celtics team the last few years, he's been the emotional leader. He's been the guy that called out Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown a year ago. Also a fan favorite in Boston. Keep in mind the Celtics are fresh off of an NBA Finals run in which they went 6 games with the Golden State Warriors. Like, I do want to put that in the back of people's minds again. Like, just a few weeks ago, they were in the NBA Finals. It feels like they're a team that missed the playoffs with them getting into the Kevin Durant trade talks. Jaylen Brown's only 25. Marcus Smart was just Defensive Player of the Year. He's getting healthier than what we've seen him in years past. He was able to finish the season, including a deep playoff run. You're going to consider giving up on Brown and Smart for Kevin Durant, a guy that your team just dominated his Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the playoffs with a 4-0 sweep. I love Kevin Durant at the age 34. I still think he's a phenomenal talent, one of the 3-4 best bucket getters we got in the league. But be clear. I'm not so sure that Durant meshes as well with Tatum as Jaylen Brown does currently. To be real with you, there's a lot of overlap between Tatum and Kevin Durant. Hell, when Tatum got in the league, one of the comparisons was Kevin Durant. Now you're going to put two guys that both can get others involved, but their best pocket is getting buckets. Clear as day, that's both of their best strengths. Now, Durant is obviously a little more of a versatile defender than Tatum is to me at this current point in his career. I think Tatum can become what KD is currently on defense in due time. I just don't think this trade makes sense, especially if you're going to have to give up Marcus Smart with it. I would run it back with Jaylen Brown. I would at least give the Malcolm Brogdon trade a year. You just went out and traded for Malcolm Brogdon fresh off of an NBA Finals run. If I am a Boston Celtics fan, which I am not, I'm a Lakers fan. We hate the Celtics. But if I am a part of that Boston Celtics nation, I would be like, what are you doing in the front office? What are y'all doing, Brad Stevens and company? This feels Danny Ainge-esque. What are we doing? Let's at least give Malcolm Brogdon, that we pretty much fleeced from the Indiana Pacers a few weeks ago, let's give that a year. You don't believe Marcus Smart can be the point guard on an NBA championship team? Okay, even though you're about 2 games away from winning a thing, okay. Brogdon, put him alongside Smart. You got one of the best on the perimeter defensive backcourts that we've seen in years. At least give it a year. Don't you think you deserve that? If I'm Giannis Antetokounmpo in the Milwaukee Bucks, by the way, I believe the Bucks would have beaten the Boston Celtics had Chris Middleton been healthy, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. If I'm Giannis, though, adding Kevin Durant and removing Jaylen Brown doesn't make me any more fearful of the Boston Celtics. I believe if I got Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday to my left and my right, if I'm Giannis Antetokounmpo, I feel like I like my chances. And if I'm Giannis, to him, he's probably like, yo, okay, these are the other two best forwards in the Eastern Conference. You're telling me I get to get rid of both of them in one round? Great. If I'm Giannis. Kevin Durant, would he consider really joining a team, another team that beat him multiple games straight in the previous postseason? Obviously, he joined the Golden State Warriors after losing 3 straight when he was in Oklahoma City. Again, the Boston Celtics swept the Brooklyn Nets in round 1 of this previous postseason. Would he want to do it again? Would he want that narrative to shape around his career? Again, Kevin Durant's got 4 years left on his deal, but keep in mind, in today's NBA, until we get a new collective bargaining agreement, if a guy wants out, you see what the Brooklyn Nets are doing. They're considering trading Durant right now. If you want out, I don't care if you got 4, 5, or 12 years left on your deal. You can just say, I want out. So this probably has a little bit of steam. Do I believe a deal gets done? I think at some point, somebody gets in the Brad Stevens head and says, bro, don't give up on Jaylen Brown just yet. I believe Brown and Tatum, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe in a few years from now, I believe one day these two gentlemen will have a 3-year stretch where they really have a chance at winning 2 championships. Like, I think this past run is still a couple years early. Even though they've been around seemingly for a long time because they came in the league so young and they got to it early, I still believe when they're around the ages of 29, 30, 31, that's when they're going to be at their peak. If you look historically at the NBA, that's when most of the stars are at their peak pedestal powers. I would look at both of these gentlemen and say, around that age, I'm not saying they're going to be Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, but they're going to be a fantastic dynamic duo, and I do believe Jaylen Brown complements Jason Tatum well. I'm not mad at Boston for being set on not trading Jason Tatum. He's off the board. Look, he is a phenomenal offensive talent. I just get mad at the Celtics because over the years, to me, they've been too quickly willing to trade Jaylen Brown. That's my only thing. Like, again, don't trade Tatum. Leave him off the table. But get Brown closer to where Tatum is at. That's my only thing. Find other ways to build this roster. You got to the NBA Finals, for crying out loud, and had a legitimate shot at beating the Golden State Warriors with Jaylen Brown as your number 2 and with Marcus Smart as your point guard. You don't believe Smart's your number 1 in running your offense? Okay, you got Brogdon. You fixed that problem already. Okay, give Jaylen Brown a shot with Tatum at least 1 more year at this thing. If the team doesn't get to the finals again, if they somehow get eliminated in the second round of the playoffs, then I could be like, okay, maybe the 2022 postseason run was the peak. Maybe. And I still wouldn't trade him, but I can understand Brad Stevens thinking that. And then a year from now, going and finding maybe not Kevin Durant, but I don't believe you need to pair Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum. Something that works, I guess, a little better with Tatum at that point in time. But right now, coming off of this run, adding Malcolm Brogdon, Ime Udoka in his first year head coach in Boston with the success you guys had second half of the season, nobody played harder than Boston from January on. You're going to trade Brown now at all points? You're going to potentially mess with that right now? Make him mad right now? Got him on Twitter tweeting, shaking my head? You're going to frustrate him right now? Let him know that he's clearly not as valued as Tatum. I'm sure he's already thought it. But you're going to put it out there like that after that run? If I'm Jaylen Brown, I'm thinking to myself, what else I got to do? That's not going to go over well, and he's never going to forget that. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in 2 years when his contract is up, I'm sure he's not going to forget that one bit. And I just don't believe Kevin Durant at this point in his career is the guy that for sure puts him and Tatum over the hump. I just don't believe it. Sorry. Durant, all-time great. I don't believe him and Tatum make the Boston Celtics any better than what they was, which was an NBA Finals team just a few weeks ago.